really look to people instead of facts and figures.
Yeah, it's oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say I saw a recent example of this that I thought was very effective. Get the youth in front of media. I saw this piece in Philadelphia's having a lot of similar issues with how they're covering youth crime. And they literally talked to a group of kids who were basically discussing their circumstances and why they think things are the way they are, how they're combating that. And a lot of it is they don't have nowhere to go.
Yep.
You're taking away a lot of like third space. And the third place spaces that are available are incredibly expensive. So making that the story, making it so you have young people who are directly impacted by the profiling, by the whole conversation around super predator, and like humanizing them as the audience, I think is a very important way of trying to counter that narrative.
Yeah, that's a great point. The analogy I was thinking of is the problem the Biden administration has right now is going out and saying, look how great the economy is. And if you don't feel like the economy isn't great, but except in this case, that's obviously different. But the thing that came to mind that was we touched on briefly earlier was utilizing unlikely messengers. I think people who, like sheriffs, jail officials, people you wouldn't necessarily assume to be on our side, but who are out there and who are willing to talk, leveraging those voices, I think, can go a long way, alongside youth as well.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add, and we may be already doing this because it's not a new trick, but visualizing the data as opposed to having it text-based seems to really, people take in information differently. And if I see, an infographic that represents a lot of people, but I see a word written out that says 1 million, it doesn't resonate in the same way. And so we do a lot of modeling with infographic and video, particularly if it's an annual report that the Sentencing Project does, so it's not like, it's the same story and it's still, bad, but the same people covered it last year, maybe like just presenting it in a different way. But yeah, what Janessa said is like so important. It's not the question you were asked, it's what you wanted to say. And so finding opportunities to do that is whether we're talking about data or, you just got a tough question from the reporter. One last question, because I'm not getting in trouble for going over.
I don't know if y'all caught that, but it sounded like the young sister said that she is a super predator, adjacent language. Did she say she's a super predator, but adjacent language? Because that's cold. Like, if she said that.
I would say they're using super predator adjacent. So we had a police chief called like kids and ballistic and urban terrorists and things like that.
I looked at that, I thought you were saying that you giving life, or like you are the opposite of a super predator. I thought that's what you were saying. My name's Devon Marquis Hall. I'm from Delaware. I do a program called Fight Hate with Gloves. I'm a boxer. When I made my pro debut in 2021, I started doing a program outside with the youth and everybody else that wanted to come up and hit the bag outside, and we also registered people to vote while they was coming forward. Said that if y'all, if y'all not registered, y'all don't know, you can vote. There's people that don't realize in Wilmington, where I live, it's majority black. Just like Chicago, just like New York City, and just like Philadelphia, just like everywhere else, we got Delaware, where the rest of the state look like Kentucky, Wyoming, Montana, but our big city is majority black and a lot of disenfranchised folks. A lot of people don't know. So when it comes to money, when it comes to advertising, when it comes to billboards, what y'all talking about right now is the most important thing, because there's so many people that don't know that the legislation was passed back in 2016 so that they can vote, because historically it's been that they've been disenfranchised. People that got felony convictions can't vote. That's always been the way that it is. So we have to go out into the communities and do something that is going to get people excited. Play some music, make some food, have a barbecue, bring out the boxing gloves, or whatever it is that you got to do it. And folks got to support that. Organizations, people, philanthropists, angel investors, people that just hit the lotto, whoever it is. People that got the job that they've been looking for, the career that they got, whatever it is that you can do, we have to do it, whatever it is. Whoever doesn't think that they have a place in this fight, you do. You just have to speak up. You gotta I wouldn't have said nothing, but I heard the girl say something that I thought was real cool. The sister I thought was real cool. I ain't even hear it, but that's what I heard. I thought she said that she was a super predator adjacent, the opposite of a super predator.
I'm gonna come talk to you about boxing after this, okay?
Yeah, we can fight. We can spar.
We're here till Sunday. Oh yes,
I have a message from Antonio. We are now going on break for 15 minutes. Please check out the app to see 3 sessions starting at 2:15. There will be guaranteeing voting rights regardless of incarceration status on the 4th floor, tackling difficult questions, fishbowl and large group discussion on the 3rd floor, and show me the money, using budget provisions to increase access to the ballot on the 4th floor. Please download the app and continue to tag the Sentencing Project and use hashtag #CivicPower2023. Thanks, Morgan.
Thank you all so much. Really, I appreciate being here.
I don't even know what organization this is.
I think Simpsons.
They from the Simpsons?
I think so.
The way they was talking, they ain't use first person language when they said it.
Did you have any additional comments on the engagement piece?
Different levels of experience, but what we can at least agree on is that we got something. We got something. Because what you bring to the table and what everyone else brings to us, like, if everybody here is really working in their areas and organizing like I know we all are, it may not seem like a lot in the short term. But what happened with Desmond and what they were able to do in Florida, it can happen in Tennessee. It can happen in Georgia. And as those dominoes and ships start to fall, it's like, what are we doing? We're building momentum towards something. All of us might not make it. Martin Luther King said, I might not be there with you when you get there. Same way Moses said in the Bible, I might not be there with you when you get there. But at least that's what we're going to work towards getting to. And all these other things that we want ultimately come back down to people without voices having a voice. People who aren't included being included. And the most all-inclusive thing we can do is just agree that we're all citizens. I can't, even though I understand the deep implications of what white supremacy is, I have to every day wake up and see, like, how do I create bridges of unity, unification, and common ground with people who may or may not feel like, because of the color of my skin, I don't matter as much. But I can't keep living like I got a right to be against. I mean, we've got to find common ground and move. I had my soapbox put up on the last few days. I'm sorry, I got it out.
I think here's yeah.
Do you agree? I heard everything you said. Do you acknowledge that me and you are real?
Yes.
They destroying brothers and sisters in there.
Yes.
They breaking them. They beating them down. And these brothers and sisters got to come home. We send an army home with broken men and women. And the most revolutionary thing we can do is stop that and empower these brothers and sisters up. It's so important to anything we do out here.
We put on here education of the people in prison because Chicago Votes got 270 people that they've trained in civic education. And I heard you say that about empowering. That's why I mentioned that before you shut me down.
No, it's okay. I just want to like respect.
But we put it on there though. It's on there though. We don't follow rules.
Okay.
So, just to what the brother was saying, so, doing the empower. One, I want to speak to the notion of using the oppressor's tools, because when I talked about the vision of that, you said about we're using the oppressor's tools, so I wanted to get some more understanding about what you meant by that, because the vision that I'm talking about is just what they're talking about, is being able to, first of all, empower folks from the inside, give them a voice from the inside, and we can do that via multimedia. We go in, we got a radio TV station, and right there, we amplify that on the air. We want to live going into the right? So we find out that they don't process, right? And the radio is right? That they don't need to actually have to be able to actually just a smile.
And actually doing that
serving people inside as a way to surface feedback and perspectives that, you know, as the strategy evolves and we refine it over the years, throughout the year. Anything else?
Do we specifically, like, just engage with your state, maybe look at federal?
That is yeah, I mean, there's state.
Because that's the thing, is like, there's a lot of like really, I don't know about everybody else's state, but in my state, it's like 80% of people don't even have a high school diploma. That's not a bad thing. That's just indicative of the type of population you're looking at when you're trying to engage with them, right? And the kind of wording and the kind of things that you need to bring to the table. Whereas in the federal system, you got people who do have higher education and things of that sort that can be more engaged. Not that.
You're talking about the federal prison system? Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Federal versus state. Like, see, the thing is, one thing I didn't know about voting is I always was under the assumption that I can't vote for president because I could only vote for the state because my state gave me my right back to vote. But yet federally, I was kind of scared about that because I didn't know what the differences were, because I've known people who lived on the reservation who committed a crime that was charged by the state and then picked up by the Fed later on because it's a whole different sovereign nation.
Yes.
I just want to piggyback on what my man said, universal suffrage. I think someone mentioned that yesterday, and it stuck with me. I know that this sentencing project does do a national coalition. I would love to see that national coalition begin to move in the direction of some sort of national suffrage bill.
I would expand on what you said, and then also what you had said, like, how do we not just restore voting rights for people who are returning citizens, but how can we look at non-citizen voting? How can we make sure that every single person has the ability to determine, you know, their community and have the right to vote? I would say, I think there are mechanisms that can be put in place. I don't know what they are, but you know, it's the long term.
Yeah. And I'll add capping the amount of time that you get on probation. In the state of Wisconsin, we
Yes.
lead the region, third in the region, how much time that right. And you got studies up and down that show that once you're on parole probation for a certain amount of time, I think like 3 years, like the odds of you committing a crime after that like drops, right? So what's the purpose of it after 3 years? You got brothers and sisters in Wisconsin that's on parole probation for many, many decades unnecessarily. So capping that.
Do you feel that that's a long term, or is that short term, intermediate? Just wanting to see your
Well, in the state of Wisconsin, it's definitely a long time. It's also the Republican super majority in the state of Wisconsin. You got a Democratic governor with no backbone, and you got Republicans running the Assembly and the Senate. Right? So for us, it's an uphill battle. But that's why I'm here to figure out some methods to win this battle.
Yeah, and
just to add to that, I feel like that would probably be a long-term goal.
But that's their red line. So if you are trying to create more, and if you're trying to expand the criminal code, you out of there. You know what I'm saying? So single issue from the standpoint that when it comes to the issues that impact us and our communities, that if it is not empowering us, if it is not liberating us, then that is, we're gonna urge a no vote on those issues. And if that's your position, then we're gonna urge a no vote on you. So that's what we call a voting block, is mobilizing those people, but to really vote that issue over and over and over again consistently. Like they do, I mean, I hate to say this, but like the abortion issue, right? Like you have voters that can be against them in every other way, but they say, I'm pro-life, even though I don't, whatever, but I'm pro-life, right? And then they like, yep, that's my guy, that's my girl, because, and we're not trying to take away their power to really look at the candidate and make sure that they want to be that, but we want these issues to be centered in that deliberation. Does that make sense?
That might be something that you add on to the writers, because is the idea of abolition. Sorry about that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know how it is.
I didn't hear what you said. That's something you add on to what?
Oh, abolition.
Oh, as a long-term goal, abolition of prison.
as always, a long-term goal.
Yeah, I would just add to that what we've done in New York is, by the way, has been able to influence what goes on farm cars when they come around to our neighborhood. I actually asked them, is there anything on here dealing with mass incarceration? If not, I don't want to be involved with the farm cars and voting on anything unless I find out a candidate that does. So that's one way to like influence what goes on the ballot rather than wait for them to do something.
So that's a short term.
Okay, I see Kelly, then Andrew, Ron.
I just gonna add more of our people in elected office.
These are long-term goals?
And the thing about that, we have to think about the fact that we have prohibitions in Illinois for people with felony convictions from running for local office. So we gotta think about the order in that. If we want to.
Let me stop you. We do have to think about the order, but we just dreaming right now.
Okay.
Let's dream. So let's go to Ron. Now we're gonna go to Ron and Andrew.
The long-term goal I'd like to see, and it goes with universal voting and freedom to vote to all, is a constitutional amendment guaranteeing that no one can lose their right to vote. You know, we have to get it codified in the Constitution so that the states can keep doing what they're doing. You know.
That's a long time.
Long time, most of
I see.
Rachel's like, that's short term. That's what I'm working on right now.
I'm glad you went first. I was going to say something very similar, but I'm thinking both in terms of elected and appointed offices, because it's really about like, I think we've had a lot of conversations, comparisons to like the dedication of people overturning abortion rights. And the way they were able to do that was getting power in both elected, appointed offices, and just consolidating that power over a long period of time. So thinking creatively about both where we can get people elected, where we can get people appointed, and where they would have like influence to get us to our long-term goals.
So he's looking at that as a long-term or short-term?
I think we're building a list of long-term, we're gonna break down the short-term goals, because I think we can get there from here. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, building a constitutional argument as to why, prohibiting the vote, to people with felonies is unconstitutional. And I think that may fall in the argument.
Voting's a mechanism, but it won't inherently liberate us. So it's like, we want voting rights to get the things that you mentioned, right? So it's like, we want to be able to vote on, like, closing the prison. We want to be able to vote on, like, universal childcare, universal suffrage, these things. So it's like, this is, now that you frame it like this, it's like, voting restoration is like the intermediate goal. And like the long-term goal is like, the things that we want with the voting. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I want to add something to that. And to the brothers and sisters on the inside, this is important to them. And that is turning down the volume of oppression on the inside.
Can you speak that? Yeah.
Oh, no. So I would like to add to this, turning down.
Quiet storm.
I got that in my place, right? Turning down the volume of oppression on the inside, right? There's a lot of the characteristics and circumstances on the inside are so extremely torturous. I spent a lot of time inside. I got a bunch of friends inside right now. I know exactly. I remember exactly. Their intent is to destroy. Period. On the inside, the policies, all the rules. Their intent is to break you. They want to diminish you, right? And so you got these people that's coming home, that's been under this pressure, and they expect it to be successful. And that's an extremely important part of any agenda to deal with incarceration in this country, is to impact how they're being treated on the inside, because these other systems are coming home. Right? So finding ways, different mechanisms to deal with that, to turn that down, to get a hold of that, so you're not traumatizing people that's gonna come home and be unpacking this trauma for the next 20, 30 years.
And I would like to say, I would like to see some sort of national movement around training currently and formerly incarcerated folks on how to organize, like being organizers, and like being placed on campaigns, being placed on not just candidate,
candidates running for office, but also like issues-based campaigns as well. Because my sense is that like if we get, because those are our credible messengers, right? And one of the things that I see them doing is like not just registering voters, but like, I'll give you an example. In Pennsylvania, we have Dauphin County Prison. In the last like year or two, like 18 people have died under mysterious circumstances. And we've been getting some of the journalists to write about it, but it's always been like the small statewide news outlets, and it doesn't take off. So like we literally need organizers that can devote all of their time to Dauphin County Prison. And that has nothing to do with registering voters, but we will register voters when we go.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of organizers in there already.
Exactly, and we just need to be, exactly.
Lee, I want to push on that and see if you will agree that that also is a tactic.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So continue to think about what is the, let's imagine, right, that this is an actual campaign that we're building and we're going to put a timeline and everything we want to. What is the goals should feel different than the tactics, right? Is the what versus how. So when we say what, I think like the universal voting rights like sounds like something like a very long goal, like good long-term goal. Would everybody agree here that that will be a good long-term goal, that your organization or yourself will be interested in kind of looking into what then is the considerations, the targets and tactics? Or is there anything else? There was also like the comment about abolition of prisons or closing them, right? I think that could be another long-term goal. Yeah, just like wanting to push around like thinking about long-term is like something divisions, but instead we're actually coming together even stronger and going beyond what specific sector or what specific goal you are fighting for. Who here has seen the Midwest Academy strategy chart? Okay. How have you used it in your organization? Do you want to share? Yeah. Sure.
I'm Tiny with Initiate Justice in LA. We actually use this for our
We actually use this in our curriculum for the Institute of Impacted Leaders, which is a 12-week training program on community organizing and policy advocacy for formerly incarcerated people and people with incarcerated loved ones. Mm-hmm. So this starts our week 3, which is where we start our community organizing session. So this is like where we start with community organizing 101.
Awesome. Anybody else? Who else has used it in your organization? Go ahead, Bob. Oh.
Hi, my name is Kennedy Mehta. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the advocacy director at Alliance for Youth Organizing, and I teach a lot of advocacy folks in 6 states how to run campaigns to scale. So I use a lot of Midwest Academy tactics and a lot of their tools to help do the training so that the organizers on the ground, including folks here in Chicago Vote, are able to advocate on behalf of their constituents and really build intentional power.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and it's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So I know that all of you are coming from different states, different cities, different environments, and different factors that are impacting your campaigns. What we're going to do today is try to get to a collective strategy chart that you all can use moving forward in the upcoming months and maybe even years to kind of collectively decide on what those goals look like. We have heard about the importance of the communications.
You get the bread between the bread that makes up the sandwich. You know, we go to all these meetings and stuff, we meet, and you get tired of just meeting. When we're going to do something. So this is where we can find out where we can help each other. And I know everybody can agree with me, when you're doing this type of work, you get tired. And it's just like being a Christian going to church. You go to church on Sunday to get your cup refilled. So that's what happened this weekend for me. I got my cup refilled, I got re-energized, and knowing that there are other people in other states and in my own area that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. I can reach out when I'm feeling tired, when we're not doing a convention. I can reach out to them, you know, during the months and weeks afterwards and say, hey, listen, you know, what are you guys doing? What can I help you guys with? here's where we need to help. So it's great to be with other people who are doing the work that we're all doing, and knowing that we are brothers and sisters in the same fight.
And then David was behind you. Thank you.
My name is David Reza. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, part of OLE, organizers in the land of enchantment, or as some of us like to call it, the land of entrapment. I think as I reflect on this weekend, one thing that I am overwhelmingly kind of feeling is this is the largest group of people that I've been most comfortable around in a long fucking time. And I think that's what kept me here. That's what kept me wanting to come back to the room, to hear stories. We don't need motivational speakers because we have real talk. And that real talk moves you. And I did a drop of water of time compared to half the men in here. But I was still very much impacted. And coming back here, it kind of brings a sense of fear, thinking that I gotta go back to somewhere that I can't be real, that I can't open up. But yet I'm empowered to want to open up, to want to say more. And I thank every one of you here for that, because travel.
Okay, well, we're gonna move into the last.
Just real quick, I had to come here today because when I report back to the people that are inside, that are gonna ask me what happened at this conference, I don't want to just say that I learned about this and I learned about that. I want to be able to say, I learned about this, I learned about that, and here is the strategy that's going to be utilized for what I learned. So my reason for being here is so that I can be here to help my brothers and sisters on the inside prepare for the fight that we have coming.
Yes, thank you. I have one last comment.
Hi, my name is Melanie Calhoun. I am from Valdosta, Georgia. I work with Black Voters Matter. I wasn't going to say anything until after David and the last man just spoke, but I had to because I stayed because this brought me full circle. I know I had a couple conversations with people yesterday, and what most of you all don't know is that I came from an experience that is the total opposite of what you all experienced. For 4 years before I came to Black Voters Matter, I worked as a probation parole officer, and I quit there. I left there because I realized that I wasn't a supervision officer, but I was an advocate for those individuals, which is why I engaged them the way that I did. And so leaving there and being able to come into the work that I took a pay.
Start doing the political engagement with people once they've gotten their new rights, and then move through the rest of the conference with perspectives and tactics and strategies around expanding the right to vote, and then ended yesterday with an opportunity to even pull out that frame even more to political rights, to human rights, given the conversation with Antonella and Rodrigo and Shakur and Jorge and Karima. So I've had a lot